All right, guys, this is Killian here with the Question Perspective, and today we have an episode relating to the recent comments that Joe Rogan made about the fact that he doesn't know who he's going to vote for. In fact, he doesn't know if he's going to vote, but if he was going to vote for anybody, it would probably be Trump over Joe Biden. So let's take a look at two clips relating to Joe Rogan's analysis of what he's seen from Joe Biden, and then let's talk about how the media responded to this, what this means about that response, and how the left has taken it as well. Let's see.
An actual president that's viable. I don't have one. So
Right.
then you're going to ask me, well, which of the non-viable people do you like best?
Well, this is the real issue with the Democratic Party. They've essentially made us all morons.
Yeah.
With this Joe Biden thing, they really have. They've
Can you
made us all
imagine?
morons.
Who do we need? I mean, can,
I
none
can't
of-
vote for that guy.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for Trump.
I'd rather vote for Trump than him. I don't think he can handle anything. I mean, you're relying entirely on his cabinet. Like, if you want to talk about an individual leader that can communicate, he can't do that. And we don't even know what the fuck he's going to be like after a year in office. The pressure of being the president of the United States
Right.
is something that no one has ever prepared for.
Right.
The only one who's... But you have to be able to call out shit that's wrong on your side. And this is one of the problems that the Democratic Party's having right now with this Joe Biden guy. You guys got to be able to call it out. You can't let this slide because everybody else sees it, and Trump is going to eat him alive. He's going to eat that guy alive. The guy can barely remember what he's talking about while he's talking.
Do you know which one it was? Because there's a few videos.
There's a
going
few of
around.
them.
Yeah.
Play any of them. They're all crazy. Every video of him recently talking, he's stumbling through shit. He forgets what he's talking about.
We should be making those masks. We should be moving on those ventilators. We can do that. Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
You know,
I guess,
Donald
but
Trump
I
was
really
asked
wish
on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's done.
No, I probably best I don't.
He's like Junior Soprano before he shot
Yeah.
Paul. Look at him.
It's not. That's not even the worst example. That's just an example. The one down there when he's talking to that lady, I think that one was a struggle too. That was a struggle fest.
Period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said,
Yeah,
that
this is
we
it.
cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what. We know what has to be done. We know you have to.
Would reassess the
What?
recommended period?
Yeah, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about when he's talking. And this is not like this. I'm looking at this like a medical condition. Okay, I'm looking at this like, okay, when I'm calling a fight and I see a guy limping, and I'm like, I think he hurt his knee. Like Thiago Santos against John Jones, I think he hurt his knee there. I think there's something going on with his knee. Like, that's what I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this like this is a medical issue. That's not a normal way to communicate, unless he's high as fuck. Because if I was high, I'd be like, oh, that's just sick.
Okay, so Joe Rogan accurately kind of sums up what most of America is thinking. And so what liberal hysteria has made out of this incident is that the part that they keyed in on was the part when Joe Rogan was talking about, I don't know if I'd vote for anybody, but if I was going to vote for somebody, it'd probably be Trump over Joe Biden. And first of all, the second clip that I played kind of describes why that is. He doesn't even think that Joe Biden is cognitively able to be the president. And like he said in that video, the Democratic Party is making fools of all of us. Why are they making fools of all of us? What does he mean by this? He means that this Democratic Party has pushed Joe Biden onto us, has made a coalescing around Joe Biden to stop Bernie Sanders, to stop a viable candidate. They have done everything they can to push Joe Biden, even though they know that why would you put somebody out here who cannot speak? Why would you put somebody out here who cannot elaborate their thoughts properly? So Joe Rogan is doing this in a very sane and rational manner, and they want Bernie Sanders to come out against Joe Rogan because previously Bernie Sanders had kind of highlighted Joe Rogan's like semi-endorsement of him. And it doesn't really make any sense. So they're claiming that because he would vote for Trump, this is evidence of the evil that is Joe Rogan. But this brings us all the way back to 2016, where Hillary Clinton calls anybody who would support Trump a deplorable. This is not only divisive behavior, it's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing to garner votes and to try to win an election. Now, the whole thing, one of the things that was ran over and over and over again was, oh no, Bernie Sanders cannot get independents. Bernie Sanders cannot get the crossover voters, the Obama to Trump voters, this and that. Oh no, Bernie Sanders is too socialist for that. Bernie Sanders is too socialist for that. Yet Bernie Sanders gets Joe Rogan, who is basically the like poster child of an independent voter in America today. He's like a hunting guy who likes comedy. He's like your average, like literally your average Joe, no pun intended, American person. You will hear, and I understand that in the past, Joe Rogan has had comments about transgender things and stuff like that are a little bit more controversial. He has guests on that are controversial. But Joe Rogan is for policies like universal health care, Medicare for all. He wants all people to have health care. He wants these basic points that everybody can kind of agree on. And what he also wants is authenticity. And he wants somebody that can... Bernie is authentic. And also by being authentic, Bernie's also cognitively able to handle the workload, unlike Joe Biden. And it just comes down to the hypocrisy of the liberal sphere, where you'll see people saying that Sanders needs to disown this endorsement because what? Because this guy is on the edge between voting between Bernie and Trump. I thought that's what the whole point of this election was to get people who are on that edge. It is not. Shouldn't you be looking at your own self and going, "Wow, I can't get those voters. This is boding very well, or not going to look well at all for the general election." Because I cannot get those voters, and we had a candidate that we were intentionally suppressing, that we were intentionally trying to stop. The entire Democratic establishment was trying to stop Bernie Sanders, and there's voters like Joe Rogan who represent such a huge swath of voters. Like I said, Joe Rogan is the poster child of an independent voter. He is like so like typically American, it's unbelievable. I hear people in the back of a restaurant I used to work. These are Mexican people. These are Puerto Rican people. These are white people. These are working class people that listen to Joe Rogan. Everywhere you go, college students listen to Joe Rogan. This person listens to Joe Rogan. That person listens to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's platform is gigantic, and what Joe Rogan is saying on this platform will have an impact. And what Joe Rogan is saying on this platform is accurate. And what Joe Rogan is saying is what every American who's going to turn into the general election is going to see. Because that's the thing. In a primary, the people that are going out to vote in a primary are going to be more involved in politics than people who are going out to a general. The general is going to bring out more voters that did not vote in the primary, and these voters are then going to take another hard look at the evidence, and they're going to see that Joe Biden is not up to the rigors of this election cycle. And what we're getting at with all of this is then the problem is we expect these bad faith arguments from liberals. These are bad faith arguments. It's one thing if you're going to be consistent, but it's another thing when you have these liberal people going out and supporting people like supporting people like Mike Bloomberg, who said, and I quote, "You can Xerox a copy of these criminals, of black and brown people, and just hand them to the cops." And that's what they can do. One of the most despicable statements I have heard. A man that finally disowned this as he started to run for president. A man that has had racist policies, sexist policies up and down, yet liberals were willing to go and back this man. Yet they want Bernie to reject the endorsement of Joe Rogan, who is in every way imaginable better than Mike Bloomberg when it comes to just being a human being. And then you have liberals like Ellen and other celebrities in this upper echelon neoliberal sphere who go and you see Ellen out with George W. Bush and then puts a statement out and does a whole video on YouTube that says, "Oh, this is giving me faith in America again, that people can come back and agree on things." So what is it? Are we agreeing on things or are we not? And I will once again present to you that Joe Rogan is a better person than George W. Bush is, who went and got hundreds of thousands to millions of Iraqi civilians killed, American soldiers' lives killed, destabilized the Middle East, did not properly respond to Katrina, which was probably fueled by racist intentions, cut taxes for the rich, so on and so forth. Yet you have people saying that we can come back together and agree with these people. And I'm not for canceling people outright, but people in positions of power like George Bush should definitely be canceled. But you're trying to cancel somebody who represents just a huge swath of everyday voters. That's hypocrisy. And the problem, and I'd like to get to what this means for the left. The left has to stand up to these attacks and call these bad faith attacks out on their face. I remember watching clips of Donald Trump at debates where they were booing him, and he was saying, oh, that's their donors in their audience. Oh, this is that. Oh, these people are rigged. This whole establishment is rigged. That's the problem with the left. The problem with the left is that we do not want to go and act like this is what it is. This is a time of change. This is a revolutionary moment with the tinder being set and the spark that needs to go. So when we see all of these people saying this and saying that, we need to counter these bad faith attacks and to not allow people to allow this narrative to persist and to gain traction. So that's one of the problems that happened, was that this narrative was allowed to gain traction. We should have went head on and said, no, we are doing better with independence. And even in the elections that Bernie Sanders lost, we were doing better with independence. Your little mythical independent that is on this like linear line with no deviation does not exist. People are looking for authenticity. Donald Trump was brought on by a populist wave, and you have a populist candidate in the left that you suppressed because you did not want your power to be jeopardized. That's the problem. And then the problem, an even bigger problem is the internal problems within the left. Then you'll see people that are on the left that are for Medicare for all, that are not acting in bad faith like neoliberal people are. You'll see them also going against the Joe Rogan endorsement. They're saying, oh, well, he said this about, he said that transgender athletes should play in their own sport or whatever. That's an actual debatable topic. I'm sorry for everybody to kind of realize this, but as progressive as you want to be on social issues, America is not there. But you know what America can get there on is class issues. And if Joe Rogan wants people to have health care, if he wants people to get a living wage, if he's going to vote for the guy that's going to implement the policies that's going to allow all of us to rise to the occasion, then that's what we need to do. We need to have somebody, because when you look at studies about how people do under the stresses of financial pressure, and just the pressures of daily life, of not being able to meet your means and living in a state of scarcity, people are less likely to come over to your way of thinking. People are more likely to shell up. People are more averse to new ways of thinking and are more hostile towards other people. They see people as enemies. But as you alleviate these fears, you alleviate these economic woes, you alleviate these underlying systemic issues, this then allows people to see the mistakes that they're making within their thinking about social issues, and the fact that they have been pit against each other by the Republican Party, by the Democratic Party, who have just conceded white liberals or white Americans to the Conservative Party, who do not try to reach across the aisle, who then treat these people as if they are deplorables. We need to, as the left, reach across and understand that not everybody is going to be with us on lock and step on every issue, but if they are for the core issues of bringing economic empowerment to people, then we need to be willing to take these people in. And you'll see people, even commentators on the left, like Mehdi Hassan on the left, saying that Bernie Sanders needs to disown this endorsement. Yet why? Because he can get the independent voter. Why is the left going to cannibalize itself and say that we cannot reach across the aisle with these people? The left has a problem with weakness, and we need to push aside this. I understand the purity of politics that we need when it comes to Medicare for all. That's my litmus test. When it's Medicare for all or bust. It is living wage. It is education as a right. It is environmental awareness or bold environmental action. These type of things. And if somebody is willing to get on board with these issues, we need to look across and respect the platform that they're bringing. Respect the people that they're going to be able to bring into this movement, because what the Democratic Party and the Republican Party done is tried to create a little oligarchy, or like a little monopoly of the people within our world, and they've just tried to suck up all the rights to these people when there's so many other people that we can be trying to bring into our movement, because 40% of people don't even vote in presidential elections. Those are the type of people that we can get in elections. And it's just a sad fact that you have commentators like Mehdi Hassan and other people on the left that are so averse to somebody, and cancel culture, this cancel culture of canceling anybody who says anything bad once and just throw them away because we can't use them in the movement. No, people are redeemable. Things are shifting. People become misguided, and we as people on the left need to be extending an olive branch, extending an arm to allow these people into our movement. And we need to push back on attacks from liberals who are allowing Mike Bloomberg's and allowing George W. Bush's to be redeemable, but are not allowing everyday Americans who are struggling themselves, who are struggling with debt themselves, who might be misguided in certain issues, but that doesn't mean we can't allow them to be more aware of issues that are happening in our communities. And this happens through talking to people. This happens through being open to discussion. We do not need to be stuck in echo chambers, and we do not need to be goaded into echo chambers by neoliberals arguing in bad faith. So that's just a little episode I wanted to do about this whole Joe Rogan situation with the Trump endorsement. And as you can see, it's a classic divide and conquer strategy. Divide this working class white people from other working class white people and working class brown people that are on the left, to try to make it as if though they're enemies, when in reality the left needs to go reach out to these people and build the coalition. We do not need to build the coalition with the people that don't care about our economic needs. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if somebody calls me the wrong pronoun if at the same time this person is also for my health care. I'm sorry, but there's orders of magnitude, and the left needs to be honest with itself. These things like healthcare, the willingness of these neoliberals to let people die, needs to be called out, and it needs to, and everything that needs to get shut down about the left catering to people like Joe Rogan being bad. Like I've been saying throughout this entire video, Joe Rogan has the platform, speaks to a wide swath of people, and the left must be strong enough to rebuff these bad faith arguments, and the left needs to be able to look within, have some introspection, and understand that we need these people if we are ever going to be taken seriously within the Democratic Party. Thank you guys for viewing, and I hope today I'm going to get another video in related to the Wisconsin elections, the SCOTUS decisions, Joe Biden in relation to the Wisconsin elections, and all of that. So thank you for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys next time.